Right then, I did a poll a little while ago asking what type of content you wanted to see in 2026, and not many of you replied, but the few messages that I got said you wanted to see some more like me talking videos. I don't know why you wanted that, you must be gluttons for punishment. But anyway, so one of the ideas I thought I would do, I always for the new year change all of my guitar strings for fresh, ready for the new year, new strings and all that. And I saw another YouTube content creator guy, I suppose you'd call him, who did a what's in my guitar case, which I found quite interesting. So I thought I would do that for you and see whether you find that interesting for me. You might not, this might be a waste of time, but we'll see. So let's get started. So the first thing that I've got in my guitar case is obviously my guitar. So this is my guitar. This is a 2025 Epiphone inspired by Gibson Custom Shop Dove. She's very nice. I like her, and she sounds very nice. She gets me a lot of compliments from my friends on how nice she sounds, and she's also not too bad looking. Right then, so bits and pieces that I have in my guitar case. Let's start with the most boring stuff. So I have a bag that is full of bits of paperwork that came with the guitar. The Americans call it case candy. It's got stickers and things in there, which I'll probably use one day, but at the minute I am keeping them safe because I like to... Stickers you can only do once, and so I probably pontificate a little bit too much about stickers and where I put them. I should probably be a bit more free with my stickers. But anyway, so that's the first thing that lives in the bottom of the case, is some of the paperwork. Right, so the next, I suppose you'd say boring thing that I have in my case. So my guitar always has the strap on it. I have a nice leather strap that goes on it, but if anything were to ever happen, to my nice strap, I do have a spare strap. This was the second strap that I ever bought when I first started learning. It's got some jazzy colours, hope you can see that. And it just lives in the case just in case I were to ever have a malfunction with my strap. So next boring thing that I have in my case is I have some 9-volters. I have not many pedals, but I've got a few pedals that I use when I'm performing. Some of them require batteries. My guitar obviously requires batteries, so just in case mainly the battery on the guitar ever dies, I've got some spares in there. Next thing, speaking of if anything were to go wrong, so just before Christmas you will see the last gig of the year I broke my high string. I was very gutted. It was the penultimate song of the night, and my high went, and instead of stopping, just powered on through. So if there were ever a problem with string snapping that wasn't near the end of the night, I have a little guitar multi-tool in there that's got a string cutter, this little doobie-da for getting your bridge pins up, and a string winder as well, just to wind the strings up, obviously. So that lives in there as well, just in case I have any problems. I also, on that vein, have some spare strings in there. So I have 12 gauge strings. I usually put elixirs on just because they last a little bit longer and I like them. But I do have some more budget strings that just live in the bottom of the case so that I can swap them out. These ones are Martin ones, which before I changed to elixirs, they were the ones that I like to use on all the guitars. It's just mainly now. The Martins go on all of my house guitars and like the practice ones. It's only the Dove that has elixirs on now. So yeah, spare strings as well. Plenty of spare picks because they disappear into the never wherever they go. Once you drop one, you never see it again. I've been quite lucky in the sense that I have only ever dropped my pick into the sound hole twice, but that was once too many. I'm not in a rush to do it again. So yeah, plenty of spare picks. The reason, I'm segueing here, but the reason that I don't lose many picks in this guitar is because when I bought it, I opened the case and I found that it had this in. Now, this is a sound hole cover, which is meant to sort of stop some of the feedback and help with feedback issues for an acoustic guitar. But this one's really clever in the sense that if I take this bit off of it and open it up, it's got a little pad in it, and this acts as a dehumidifier. Don't really have too much of an issue in England with humidity. It's always freezing and always wet, so not too bad. But I always just, as practice, stick that in the guitar when I'm done, just to help with longevity, I suppose, and keeping it looking nice. So yeah, that's because that lives in there all the time. I don't lose too many picks. The only time it ever comes out is when I'm about to start. I obviously take it out then. So the next thing that lives in the case is I always have on hand plenty of these little bad boys. These are vocal zones, the little sort of lozenges for your throat. I have only been using these for about 6 months, 8 months. I just pop one in before I start, and it just means that even if I haven't had much time to warm up or anything, they just help with sort of my voice a little bit and make me not have to do too much warming up. I also have a little, I don't know what you would call this. I call this a jiffy bag. But I just have a little plastic jiffy bag that holds a few things in. Mainly so, these are my main things that I need for a gig. So I have in there some picks that I've used. So the reason that I put these ones in there rather than with the other picks is because they're sort of pre-used. So I have personal picks. I hope you can see that. So the more that I use them, they start to wear around the edge, and then eventually they get to the point that they're like this, and they get a bit blunt on the end. So if I just keep the used ones separate, it means that well, in my head anyway, it means that I'm not going through them as quick and not using all of them up as quick. So yeah, I keep the used picks in there. I also have this wonderful thing. This is a G7 capo. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't going to buy an expensive capo, and I tried a few of my friends and thought that they were alright, but I still wasn't converted. And since I've got this, I am a full G7 convert now. I think this is probably one of the best things that I ever invested in. I love this capo, and all my friends have got silver ones. I got a gold one just because we all go to the same open mic nights, and in my head I thought if I get one that's a different colour, I've got no chance of mixing it up with other people's. So yeah, G7 capo. Gold is optional if you like to be a bit bougie like I do. Yeah, the other thing that lives in the jiffy bag that gets used at open mic nights more than it does at gigs, because I've got a tuner on my pedal board, but I've got a, I call it Didario? Do you call it Diodario? I watch a lot of YouTube, and some of the YouTubers, oh jeez, some of the YouTubers call it Diodario, so Didario tuner. It's very good. I like it. Other tuners are available. I don't want to get in trouble. And all of those little bits and pieces tend to live in just a little cardboard box that I have found, and just means everything's neat in my case. So yeah, that's what lives in my case. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how comfortable I am with these videos where I'm doing talking, but as I had a couple of messages asking for them, I thought I'd give it a go. If you like it, then feel free to tell me that you like it and I might do some more. Alright, see you later. She gets me a lot of compliments from my friends on how nice she sounds. And she's also not too bad looking, just like me.